Welcome back to the Best Start Guide. Guys, it is day 106, and we're coming down to the tail end of the chase for Eostrid, and I got 90 fragments here. Sadly, the Summon Rush event is over, so I've lost any chance of going after the last 10 in the Summon Rush, except I got it. I got the last 10. Never doubt me. So I got everything that we've got for Eostrid, which means now they've been kind enough to drop another event. So instead of taking some well-deserved R&R, I just got to go straight into this next one. It's not in tournaments, it's in events. It's the Hero's Path. And I suppose this is optional. You don't necessarily have to get a 5-star ascension, but on this free-to-play account, this might be the only time I ever get anything close to this good for a champion that I actually have. So it is a good opportunity. It is I took a calculation. I took out my phone and added the stuff together. You need exactly 73,500 points to get all the way to the blessing. I am going to try to do that. We got 4 days. So basically you need to get the better part of 20,000 points per day. So there are 2 ways to do it. You can do it by upgrading champions, which is something that I just finished doing. I don't feel like doing more of it, but it would be nice to be able to get a really well-developed Eostrid. The other way is to summon souls from soul stones. I have a really small number, so the vast majority of the points are probably going to be coming from the event. So if we look, I know there's a way to examine the points. I guess it's through the eye here. So I think I can get about 11 Mortal Soul Stones, so that's going to be about 1,100 points, plus the 1,500 for the one big one that I could afford to get, so that's going to be a tiny amount. So I might pull those now, just to get a head start on the event. And anyway, if nothing else, maybe we'll get a cool soul. Hey, maybe we'll even get a 5 or 6 star soul for Eostrid. If we did, I'd probably basically stop the event immediately because it's going to be a lot of work. And I just finished doing this kind of thing. So in order to pull Eostrid from that event, I pulled the vast majority of my mystery shards. I pulled more than 1,500 mystery shards just to make up the lack of the extra 3 sacred shards that we would have needed. So I can summon her now, or I can wait. Because there is a CVC coming in a week. There's always a CVC coming. And it can be good to get the extra 30,000 points there, or even just to wait for an event to pull her. We can pull her whenever we want. Now that she's in the fragment summon pool, we could just leave her there. We could pull her a month from now if we wanted. Now I do want to pull her sooner rather than later because I do want her for Arena. I'll show you what I'm running right now in Arena. It is slightly better since I managed to pull Seeker, but a lot of these teams are very hostile because I'm in Gold 3 right now. I shouldn't be in Gold 3. That's too high. Sometimes I get easy fights, usually I don't. Maybe this fight's doable. We'll run it and see what happens. Hey, look at that. Good enough. 7 seconds. So, I mean, when you win, and it's pretty quick. But you gotta win. I don't know about this one. Wither can hold out a long time. There's no heavy nukers on this team now, so as long as we beat them in relatively short order, it shouldn't be too bad. Might want to hyper focus on Shill just to make sure she goes down before she gets UDK back up. Can you do it, guys? Maybe. Either way, this is definitely a longer fight. My guys are dropping like flies now. This is no good. Anyway, so I want Eostrid for Arena, but she'd also be really good at Hydra. and that's another area that I do need help. Right now, my best Hydra run was 2 million. This week's is currently close to that, 2.2, but some of that came from a second key that I used up. I think it was 1.8 million, maybe only 1.6. It was 1.85. There you go, 1.85 from this second team here. So I'm going to try to mix and match next time. I do like the idea of using Master Butcher as a provoker because he provokes for 2 turns and it's 100% to work. Whereas Bivald has a bunch of chances to provoke, but they're all 1 turn and none of them are about 100%. Seeker also has a chance to provoke on his A1. And it's not 100% either, so even combining the 2 of them, you still don't quite get there. Seeker is really crazy fast, though. And Sun Wukong is really doing his work with the block buffs. Super important for Hydra. Then I'm probably going to replace Tagore with Jamarsa, just because Jamarsa, she's 50 here, but I actually 6-starred her. That's who I chose. If we go to the champions, she's the next 6-star. So I now have, and I gave her Timely Intervention. I think this is the best mastery to give a reviver out of everything that you can possibly get. There's some noteworthy ones. You can always go for Unshakable to make your reviver more resistant. You can always go for extra health from Elixir of Life. And if you want your reviver to pull a little more weight when you're fighting a boss, you can always go for one of these 2. You could go for Giant Slayer, or you could go for War Master, so that against Clan Boss, for example, you're probably gonna triple or quadruple their damage just by taking this 1 mastery, whichever one is appropriate for the reviver. It would usually be War Master, unless they have 3 hits on their A1. Like there are revivers that are like that. Let's see, Sylvan Watchers has one. I think it's the rare. Not has 3 hits on his A1. So if you wanted Not to be a boss specialist, you could probably go ahead and give him Giant Slayer, and his damage would go up. It'd be really cool because he's got the decrease attack as well on his A1, albeit the crappy version of decrease attack. It's still there, and he's got increased defense. This is a good champ. Wish I had him. So I'm going to pull some souls. I think this is what I'm going to do. But first, okay, here's what we're going to do. So if I'm doing champ training, basically I'm going to be doing a lot of this. I'm going to be going to the arena, not the arena, the campaign, and I'm going to be running one of 2 campaign farmers. Sun Wukong, at the way that I've got him equipped now, he can more or less, I mean, he did this in 7 seconds. That's pretty good. And I don't need a preset for him. So it's easier to move champions around. If I just want to swap them out, it's no problem. Let me go over the way he's geared. Ah, crap, he's in the vault. So I'll take him out of the vault. And Sun Wukong is the only one that I've got in Savage right now. He has my absolute best Savage set, and as you can see, it's a bunch of blue pieces. Like, I don't have the best stuff in the game, but he can still more or less one-shot everything in Brutal Campaign. His total stats, here they are. Got him crit capped at 100% crit rate. I love, at some point, to get this guy to be more of an endgame array of stats. Once you can put crit damage gauntlets on a champion, you can get them up to 200% damage plus. Easy. But for now, he's going to have to sit tight here. He does have 4,800 attack. Some of that is coming from the Blessing, because he does have, I gave him Lightning Cage. Just Lightning Cage is a good one for him. Here's what I'm thinking with Sun Wukong. Lightning Cage, because on his A3, yeah, now you see us, he's stealing all these buffs, right? He's stealing all the buffs, and then he's placing block buffs. But he gets to keep the buffs, and that means his Lightning Orb is then going to kick in and protect the buffs that you just stole. And in fact, the order that it goes in is the enemy places their buffs, you get Lightning Cage, then you steal their buffs, and now your Lightning Cage has actual buffs to protect. because otherwise Lightning Cage doesn't really do much, but he steals lots of buffs. So that's why it's a good one for him. I'm not saying it's the best one for him. I'm just saying it's a good one for him. The other campaign farmer I could use is, of course, Kale. If I want to use that. But I find he's faster with the preset. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in with the preset just so he opens with his area of effect. He does struggle with one of those first guys because it's a weak affinity hit. So, I don't know. I think Sun Wukong may turn out to be faster than Kale. Kale's pretty fast, but Sun Wukong is faster. Basically, the only time Kale is actually faster is if his AoE manages to kill everything, and I think it's we're just past that point. Like, I think he can do it in area 4-3 or maybe even 9-3, but by 12-3, I don't think he could do it. Whereas Sun Wukong, sometimes he can, sometimes he can't. It depends on whether he gets a particular bonus when he does damage. See, he didn't get it this time. I'm blanking on the name of it. So we'll go over his masteries as well. That way I can have a little bit of a reminder of what it is exactly. So when it does the slower time, it's more like 16 seconds. So I don't know, maybe that averages out to 12 seconds. Maybe that's not faster than Kale anymore, I'm not sure. Basically, if we go over his masteries, it is this one, the Cycle of Violence. Has a 30% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random skill by 1 turn if the damage inflicted by a skill exceeds 30% of the target's max HP. Occurs once per turn. So basically, he comes out and he hits the first wave with an AoE, and he'll have that 30% chance to get a cooldown. Then he already has a second AoE, because he's fully booked now. I decided he was worth it, so he's the first Lego that I'm fully booking. I think I'm out of Lego books now. But it's a 3-turn cooldown, 3-turn cooldown. What a great champion. So, if you're starting a new game, or if you already started a new game, hopefully you went with Sun Wukong because he's super good. He's not necessarily, again, I can't say he's the best one to have picked, but he's the one I picked because he was the only Lego on the menu. And it is very difficult to pull a Lego in this game. I probably don't need to tell you. If you've been playing along with me all this time, all the way to day, what is it, 106? I said at the beginning of the episode. It's 106, right? Yeah. So, you already know. It is very difficult to pull a legendary. So, if you're given a free legendary, might as well take it. As for the tavern, once, and you know what, it would be good to look at the values, and again, it's not a tournament anymore, it's an event. So we go to the Hero's Path. We get a certain number of coins every time there's a level upgrade on a champion, and it looks like it basically doubles when you hit rank 4, from rank 3 to rank 4. But you could even probably put some brews into your rank 3s, maybe even your rank 2s. Brews, 1-star champions, or just run them in campaign one more time before you feed them to the next level, and you do get some extra points. So basically, if I wanted to take, and I do have a lot of 3-stars that are not currently leveled, but let's say I wanted to take something like this Muckstalker. Here's another thing that I've been doing. If I pull a rare and I decide this rare is too good, I don't want to forget and make him food, I make sure to lock him and ascend him right away so that I know, even without clicking on him and seeing the lock, I already know that Torix and Muckstalker, these are guys that I don't want to accidentally feed as food. So we take Muckstalker, fully level him, and then we want to upgrade his rank by feeding him others. So I don't actually have any that are partially leveled. Oh, I do have one in him, but here. As we level our champions, we basically just go in and find our 3-stars and just give them each a brew. So they jump to level 10. The other way of doing it is by feeding a bunch of 1-star champions. I had to do an awful lot of that when I was trying to pull 1,500 mystery shards. So you can see I'm almost out of them. I'm down to 405. And maybe you're laughing at home. Maybe you're one of those guys that's like, Gavin, I pull all the mystery shards as soon as I get them. I used to be like that too. I used to be like, as soon as I had 10 of them, I'd immediately come here and pull them all and then eat them all and just constantly be at no shards. It's not a good way to exist, guys. Don't do it that way. That's the wrong way. The way you want to do it is you want to be able to have a cash flow, right? Wherever you're going. So we got 6,000 gems, for example. I haven't used these yet. I may need to dip into them to be able to do enough leveling. So we'll take one more. I don't care. Grandmaster. Why not? I think I've never ever had a use for Grandmaster. If we just kind of look at his skills, what's he got? He's got 3 hits on the A1, which I guess can be good for Fire Knight, but I mean, who cares? There are uncommons that do that. There's no extra thing here. 40% chance to place decrease attack, and it's the crappy version of decrease attack. And like that's it. That's his A2. If it's an A1, okay, cool. But that's an A2. And the A3, 50% chance of placing a provoke can get to 75%. He's an attack-based champion, so he's not particularly tough. I don't know. Anybody think I'm making a mistake by sacrificing this this POS? I don't think so. So that's basically the name of the game. You just put 3 brews into them, and then you put them in. I'm even considering keeping this guy. I don't know. We'll see. So it's going to be a long haul. That's 110 points there. And then basically, if Muckstalker were food, I'd probably give him another maybe 3 brews to get 119 points. And once you get a 5, I'd give the 5 maybe 8 brews. Do we have any unleveled 5s left? I think I ate them all to make my last 6. Well, I sort of do. I got Bellower. And this is what happened. I gave him 8 brews, and that makes him jump all the way to level 28. I think that's how it works out. Anyway, so there's a lot of champ training ahead. That's the long and the short of it. So let's round off the video by pulling some really good souls. Maybe that'll make us feel better about all this. So let's see. We go to the Mystic Market. I definitely want all this stuff, so I'll get that. And for the Immortal Soul, there's another 1,000 that I could get. I might even sit on this, because I can also pull these essences just in case something shows up at the merchants that I need. I'm just going to pull the small souls today. That's what I'm going to do. So there's 11 of them. So let's pull 1. RNGesus, something good, please, and thank you. So we're getting a Penitent 1-star soul. This is absolute garbage. And not expecting too much better to come from these 10, but let's pull the 10. RNGesus, please, come on. Help us out here. Help a brother out. So we got Magister, Boltsmith, Lich. Ooh, Sentinel's on our wish list. That's cool. We can give him that 1 star. It's too bad it's not more than a 1 star. And we have a Spike Head, technically. I think I'm just holding on to him because he's part of a fusion, though, for the time that we can go after Razin. So let's see. We can even collect some more coins there. We can awaken. No, we can't, because we have to ascend him first. Sentinel is another really interesting Hydra champion. Move him to the collection then. I'm even going to lock him. I'm going to practice what I preach and say, when I see a good champion, and we'll do the ascend 1, 2, 3 by hitting spacebar rapidly. I learned that from one of you commenters. Thank you for that. Here's what I like about Sentinel for Hydra. He's got a provoke. Attacks one enemy, has a 60% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn if this attack is critical. And that last part's important to note. I often, in the past, had forgotten about this, and I tried to build him out to 60, 70, 85%. Then you give him the mastery. You give him the fearsome presence mastery, and it jumps to 90%. So there he is with a 90% chance to provoke, and he just wasn't doing it because I wasn't crit capping him. You have to remember, when you gear him out, you got to make sure that this number gets to 100% to have that 100% chance to get that 90% chance. The numbers were confusing me because I thought 100%. No, it was 90% of 100%. And you also need accuracy. So he is a bit stat hungry in that regard. You have to make sure he has the accuracy. You have to make sure he has the crit rate. But man, if you get that going, this is the A1. It doesn't go on cooldown. So you could have him with a 90% chance to provoke on his A1 every single turn. Very good for Hydra. His A2, decrease attack and heal reduction on the whole party. Very good champion. And then he's got a passive. Heals 10% HP at the start of his turn. And the heal can be critical. So again, crit cap him. He gets a better heal. It's not just 10% anymore. At that point, it's 10% plus. And I don't actually know this. If anybody happens to know this at home, feel free to chime in and leave a comment. But I think you just get a 50% bonus to the heal, so it would be 15% instead of 10%. But I might be wrong, and it might actually calculate from your actual crit damage, which means if you built him with like 200% crit damage, he'd be getting 200% more on top of 10%, which would be 30% healing. So that would be good either way. So I don't particularly feel like spending another couple of days doing a lot of training, but we'll see how it goes. I'll see if by the end of the first day, I guess in the events we've got 1,100 of these points would have been from that. The other 500 would have been from champion training. So I'll try to calculate that into my average. I'll try to make it to 2,000, 20,000, 20,000. Wow, I was off by an entire digit there. So I'll try to make it to 20,000 by the end of the day. I'm prepared to burn into gems to do this. I think it would be good for the account. Eostrid would be amazing. In fact, if I can get Eostrid to that 5-star blessing, the thing is, even if we follow along the mission track to get Arbiter, I think Eostrid's actually better. I know I keep changing her name to Eostrid, Eostrid, Eostrid. I don't know. I don't know what that first vowel is. Like, thanks guys for making this name so difficult for me. There needs to be a pronunciation for key for raid, don't you think? Like, there's so many champions where I hear people pronounce them different ways. Is it Armagur or Armager? I say Armager because I assume this is from the French word armiger. But then if I wanted to go with the French, I'd be calling him Armager. Actually, I kind of like the sound of that. Armager, like protege. Huh. Anyway, I think that's all I got for you today. I'm not going to just ramble incoherently. So thanks for stopping by. See you on the next video. Take care of yourselves.